So, should I be here?
Ja, sit down. Hallo und herzlich willkommen auf dem Reloadland. Wir haben gerade die Pressekonferenz von Ultraviolet hier mitbekommen, die ab sofort im deutschen Markt aktiv werden. Wer ist Ultraviolet? Fragt ihr euch? Da haben wir gleich Antworten drauf, weil ich habe den CEO von Ultraviolet hier bei mir und der wird uns alle Fragen beantworten zur Marke, zum Hintergrund, was sie in Europa vorhaben. Very welcome to the Reloadland to Germany. Narayan, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, Narayan.
You're the co-founder of Ultraviolet and the CEO. Before we get into the brand, walk us through your personal background. What got you into the motorcycle industry? What's your connection to motorcycles?
So I'm completely into motorcycles. I'm an automobile designer professionally. First I studied my engineering, mechanical engineering, and after that 2 masters in automobile design. One at NID India and the second at Sweden at Umeå.
Okay.
So post my course, I worked with Volkswagen in Germany at Wolfsburg for some time in 2014, and worked with Toyota Daihatsu at Japan for some time.
Okay.
And while I was growing up and through my student life, I have probably owned about 6 different motorcycles, from 200cc motorcycles to 1000cc Ducatis. So very passionate about motorcycles. It represents a lot of excitement and freedom and whatnot. So as I was in the industry and I saw the world transitioning towards electric, first with the Tesla, right from the 2008 and 9 when they had a Lotus platform with laptop batteries, right?
Yes.
Right from that project to the Model S being a commercial success was a rather inspiring journey. And frankly, I felt a startup can move faster than the larger companies that have lots of heavy investments in IC engine technology already, who will not be able to move fast. So that's why I came back to India in 2015 and started Ultraviolet with my co-founder Neeraj, whose background is in electronics and computer science, and I think together both our backgrounds are very, very important for electric technology.
That's super interesting. I mean, it's a bold step from seeing an opportunity to founding a company and gaining massive investments to build up a brand, build up production, etc. in a market where you have already brands like Sierra has been around for like 17 years. Livewire is there. Royal Enfield just announced their Flying Flea concept last year at EICMA, also going into electric market. Weren't you afraid to go into a saturated market, or what was your vision for Ultraviolet?
So, I mean, what you say is true. For us, watching other companies grow and scale, we were saying the scale was limited by the price points of electric vehicles available in the market. So for us, we were confident if we get the design, performance and the price all correct, then yes, there is a very, very interesting scope in the market. And what we observed also is most companies get 2 out of these 3 right. They either get design and performance but too expensive, or design and cost but performance doesn't meet up to what is required. And very objectively speaking, if you want electric vehicles to succeed, you need people who are otherwise riding gasoline vehicles to convert to electric. And for that conversion to happen, you need very sexy looking vehicles, cars, bikes, whatnot, designed to represent your personality. You need performance that can be as good or better than gasoline vehicles at a similar price point.
Yeah.
So that was the objective.
But, I mean, it sounds so simple when you say it like that. How does a process of planning and building and engineering such a motorcycle go about? How long does it take? What steps are in there, and how do you come up with a final bike like this?
Sure. So for us, the design and technology was relatively interesting and exciting because both of us founders come from that background. Getting the pricing right was a big challenge, and the answer to that is developing a lot of the core technology in-house. And with that I mean the battery technology, the BMS, the motor controller or the inverter systems, the charging technology, the vehicle control unit, and all of the software that is running through the system. So these are all subcomponents where when you outsource it, the margins are really high, and then the whole bill of materials of the vehicle shoots through the roof. So we were clear, if all of this was developed in-house, then we will have a control on the cost. And It's not quick, it's not easy. It's taken us 8 years. We started the company in 2016, and 2024 is when we launched the F77 Mark II. So it's been an 8-year journey. About 150 engineers on the team, engineers and designers, with one objective of in-house development of these core subsystems.
I mean, yeah, developing in-house totally makes sense, but as you mentioned, you have to have the engineering capacity to do that.
Right.
And on the other hand, that's not cheap to get that in. How does that translate into such a competitive price? You just announced the price for your models in Germany, and they are all sub 10,000 euro, which is a game changer for in the electric market if you look at competing models. How does this price come about?
Sure. So this was because the battery BMS, VCU, motor controller, all of the software and the chargers are all controlled by us. We make it from scratch, and this has happened because the team is very strong technically. We have 3 domain areas of expertise in the company. We have a lot of people from aviation or aerospace background. We have people from consumer electronics and people from automotive. So the DNA of the company is people from these 3 domains, engineers and designers. I'll tell you how each of these also makes sense. From when we started building the chassis for the motorcycle, the weight distribution is very different, right? You have a 50-60 kilogram battery pack and a motor mount located centrally. Whereas on an IC motorcycle, you have 25 kgs of an engine block and 10-12 liters of kgs of fuel distributed. How do we get the architecture right so that the dynamics of the motorcycle do not change? So if you ride a good Honda, Yamaha or a BMW on a racetrack, this should feel just as comfortable on the racetrack. So which means a new frame architecture altogether. And this was led by our Chief Product Officer today called Vinayak, who comes from the aerospace background. So he worked with ISRO, India Space Research Organization. He also worked with companies working on landing gear systems for Boeing aircrafts, for instance. So a lot of the aerospace development approach from scratch, of physics to simulation to getting it 99.99% right before you build a prototype. That approach has gone into the mechanical systems and the architecture of the motorcycle. And even our battery engineering, the teams come from companies like Honeywell that have been developing avionics systems for a long time. So when it comes to aircraft electronics, you cannot have a critical failure. Even if something fails, it's a soft failure. There are systems that take over the load. And that's the architecture that has gone into our battery pack, which has led to safety systems across mechanics, thermal, electrical, electronic, and software. So that's how the aerospace aviation industry helped leapfrog us in terms of weight reduction, packaging, architecture, battery safety. Now coming to consumer electronics, we have people from companies like Samsung, Intel, NXP. The consumer electronics world is what the generation of tomorrow is now growing into. We didn't grow up with mobile phones, right? But anyone in their 20s today has grown up in a digital world. So the interest and the appreciation for technology and connected tech is very strong in the future generation of motorcycle riders. So for that, a lot of our features, how do we make a feature like traction control come to you over the air? Dynamic stability control coming to you over the air. We have a Violet AI feature, which is a security feature on the vehicle, which is like your home security system. Say you have parked the vehicle on the street and you have gone to the gym, but if somebody moves it or touches it, you get an alert on the app. So the bike is real-time connected as well. So all of this innovation on the user experience came from the consumer electronics world.
So a lot interesting.
Of the safety as well.
I mean, maybe you first walk us through the model that's standing right beside us, the F77, before we get to the other model. What made you choose like a sports street bike as your offering here right beside us?
So the F77 is our flagship and very special. So for us, the first question was, how do you make a new form of technology desirable? Which means the emotional pull of the design of the vehicle is as important as the performance of the vehicle, and both have to come together in a seamless way. And in terms of the design identity, you know, Japanese motorcycles have a lot of aggressive styling elements on them. The German motorcycles are very robust, have a very unique, simple kind of aesthetic, but that is also very functional. Then you have the Italian motorcycles that are very sensual in nature. So for us, what was that design language that was going to make sense?
Yeah.
And it was a combination of being bold and being sophisticated and futuristic at the same time. So these are some of the keywords represented here.
Yeah.
And for us, both of us founders and the extended teams are all hardcore aviation enthusiasts, right?
Okay.
So one of the project briefs was also, if it's a jet aircraft on wheels, what might it look like? And so that was part of the design brief. And ergonomics goes hand in hand with design. So when you sit on the motorcycle, the way the side is sculpted for your legs to hold on to the panel, when you lean onto one of the sides, how your heel can anchor to the footrest, and you can have your body weight distributed quickly left and right on a racetrack, and adequate comfort when riding. So these are all factors that went into the clay modeling phase of the design process.
Yeah. And there's other models you're offering. You have an Enduro that you're offering. You also have a scooter that's coming, the Tesseract.
Yes.
And you just showed it a crossover model. Do these models share same components like the battery pack or frame?
Sure.
And how deep is the exchangeability of components between the different models?
So we've taken about 8 years to build all of this technology. We had to make it modular, which means it can go across different platforms as well. What we've done on the battery pack, for instance, when you saw the animation, there were 4 different modules. So the F77 has 4 modules. The scooter will have a different form factor of the battery, but the internal module will remain the same. So Tesseract will have 2 modules, while this has 4 modules.
Yeah. Okay.
So all of the safety that is built into this battery pack by default translate onto the scooter as well. The cell level fuse, the protection, electronic, electrical, mechanical, thermal, all of it. Then all of the software that we're running across the system, mainly from the VCU, is also scalable across platforms. The VCU controls the entire operations of the vehicle. It is like the brain of the vehicle. It coordinates between the motor controller, the BMS, and the cluster. So the VCU was a very critical component. We took a different approach. Most products have a single chipset running the VCU. We split that into 3 chipsets, and the load is being distributed across these 3, and different functions being allocated to them as well. So the VCU also becomes scalable across our platforms, and of course the motor control systems across different voltage bands as we scale our portfolio is also modular.
Let's talk about the brand. I mean, you're entering the German market, also Austria and Switzerland, and at the moment you're fairly unknown to to be honest. How do you plan to build a brand that's desirable and that stands out against the competition?
Sure. So if you ask for my personal opinion, building a brand is going to take time. Marketing can get you awareness, but the best way to build a brand is good word of mouth. So the more happy owners we have of the F77 is going to exponentially scale brand awareness and ultimately sales. So we are going to focus a lot around the customer experience. In India, for example, we do a lot with the riding community. We have a few thousands of vehicles on the roads already. Every city has its own F77 community where we have a lot of rides and engagement programs. So we will work closely with our distributor and the dealer partners to have more community activations as well. But for us, the start of building a brand is a product that people appreciate in terms of ownership, in terms of design, in terms of performance, and then recommend it to their friends and family.
I mean, especially with motorcycles, I think you have to it's got to be tangible. You have to touch it, test it, to really experience it and find out if it's something for you. And this is something that, as you mentioned, comes through community, comes through exchange of others, comes through events like these where people can touch it, test drive it and experience it. And this is something that is, I think, as you mentioned, takes time, but I think that it's the right way to do it. How big are you in India? You're from Bangalore?
Yes.
Based in
Yes.
Bangalore. How big are you in India versus, for example, Royal Enfield? Just to give you a scale.
We are a very young company in India. For example, a company like Royal Enfield would have a few thousand dealers across India. We today are, we will end 2025 with about 100 cities live in India.
Okay.
So the scale is very different. But then again, Royal Enfield has been here for about good 3-4 decades. And we believe with the right product and the right word of mouth that we're building,
Yeah.
what has taken a similar brand 3-4 decades for us maybe takes half the time.
Yep.
So that's what we're working
Yeah,
towards.
super. And I mean, you just announced your entry in the German market this morning. In a couple of months' time or years' time, what can you say makes this entry in the German market successful? What are your aspirations? I don't know, in 1 to 3 years' time, when you say that was a good move.
Cool. I mean, success, I mean, the start of it would be good feedback on the F77.
Yep.
And then as our portfolio scales, you saw the range from multi-terrain motorcycles to F77 to the scooter. We will soon in about a couple of years cater to a wide band of two-wheeler owners. And what is special about Ultraviolette that maybe the others cannot replicate would be design, technology and user experience all coming together with as good or if not better performance than comparable IC motorcycles.
Okay.
So I think we have the ingredients or the DNA to be a leader in the world of electric mobility.
Okay.
But yes, it is going to be sticking to the core of design, tech, performance, user experience over and over and over again through multiple products without compromise, and that I think would build a successful.
Maybe as a final question, what would be a sales pitch in like 3 sentences why people should buy an Ultraviolette in Germany?
Okay. Sales pitch is look at the motorcycle, it's straight out of the future, and I can confidently say it is among the most advanced motorcycles that the world has seen in terms of all of the tech and the connected features. And a test ride is going to answer a lot more questions that I cannot even verbally articulate.
Okay. Then thank you very much for your time, and maybe let's find out in Germany. Wenn ihr jetzt Lust habt, Ultraviolette kennenzulernen, kommt zum Reload heute und morgen oder guckt beim Zero Center nach dem nächsten Händler, wo noch Probefahrtmöglichkeiten angeboten werden. Es ist ein spannendes Produkt und bereichert die Welt der Elektromobilität in Deutschland. Thanks for your time and good luck in Germany.
Very, very glad to be in Germany.
Absolutely. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that was quite a detailed discussion.
I missed a little bit, but
You can